Wear a mask at all times before, during, and after the meeting while on school and district grounds. If you do not have a mask, one will be provided for you. Seating is set up to ensure that everyone remains 6 feet apart. If you came with someone from your household, we ask that you leave the appropriate space between yourselves and others. Our meeting space is set up for individual seating. Please do not remove any of the tape for the areas that are blocked off to help us maintain the recommended distancing. Public comment cards and meeting agendas are located outside of the auditorium on the marked table. Once you fill out a comment card, please submit this in the drop box next to the comment cards. Our board assistant will collect the cards when I call for public comment and deliver them to our board secretary, Ms. Lewis. I will call down each individual one at a time to address the board at the presentation table. Again, we ask that you wear your mask during the comment period. We also have interpreters working remote. If you need this assistance, please let us know, as we have staff present to support this at the top floor of the auditorium. On behalf of our superintendent, Dr. Ledrian Roby, and the Board of Education, thank you for being here in attendance with us. And with that, I will call this meeting of the Grand Rapids Public Schools Board of Education to order. Today is Monday, May 17th. Will you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Lewis, will you please call the roll?
Ms. Grant?
Present.
Ms. Lewis is here. Reverend Matthias will arrive. Mr. Ross?
Here.
Mrs. Williams?
Here.
Dr. Baker?
Here.
Ms. Davis?
Here.
Dr. Flores?
Present.
President Jackie?
I'm here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis. May I have a motion for approval of this evening's agenda?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Our first item this evening is a celebration, and we'll welcome forward Mr. Larry Johnson, I believe.
I did get called away, so we'll, if we have a staff member who is familiar, is he coming?
Ms. Pitts, very good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
No.
I just need a minute. I
Of course. Thank you for helping.
realized that I need to get it, and then I will be happy to. Okay. We are really pleased tonight to honor and celebrate the 40 years of service of Isaac Mendoza. Mr. Mendoza is a head custodian with the district, and he was hired on June the 20th of 1978. He's been a custodian at various buildings. He started out at Westwood Middle. He worked at Strait Zoo School. He worked at Brookside, Huff Elementary and Aberdeen Elementary, Eastern Elementary, the Lincoln School, and Coit Academy of Arts. And he's currently a custodian at Riverside Middle School. We sent him his 40-year service award to his home. He was unable to attend this evening. So again, congratulations. This is an amazing accomplishment, and we are so grateful for his service. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Pitts. I hope that you'll express our gratitude as the Board of Education for his 40 years of service with our district.
I will.
Thank you. All right. Do we have any public comment for board agenda items today? Anderson. Ms. Anderson, do we have any public comment? Very good.
Did she get it? Go ahead, she did. You call their names, I just give them to you.
Thank you. For non-agenda. Okay, perfect. We'll move on. All right, Ms. Lewis, I will have you read the secretary's report, please.
Yes, the policy committee will be meeting on Wednesday, May 19th, at 5 p.m. at the Franklin Campus Auditorium. The finance committee will be meeting Monday, May 24th at 5:30 p.m. at the Franklin campus in the auditorium. The city board liaison committee will be meeting on Thursday, May 27th at 3 p.m. at the Franklin campus in the auditorium.
Thank you very much. Next, we have our committee chair updates. Ms. Davis with the Academic Achievement Committee update.
Yes, we met on May 5th, and we received an instructional council update. There was a course proposal that they passed through called SAGE, S-A-G-E, Sustainable Agriculture, Gardening, Ecology. And it is 6th through 8th graders will be the target audience. They're piloting at MLK, Dickerson, and Alger. It's to supplement middle school science curriculum. Dr. Kelly Christopher is an alumni and runs a nonprofit, and the hope is to have them come in 1 to 2 days a week for the 8-week program. They also talked about the equity focus and how the instructional council can support that. And they're focusing on addressing the absence of opportunities at non-theme schools. They also finalized a draft of communication to share a new process that has been approved with the staff on course proposal, how they will bring a course proposal to the instructional council. We had a return to learn update, and there was a slight dip after spring break, but it's moving back up. And then we had a focus on summer school for special education. Title IV and IEPs were both sent invitations, and summer school is just one of the five ways they're closing the gaps. So some different ways that they are closing the gaps are adding services for the remainder of the year during the day, adding services before or after school, providing individual tutors during the summer, or outside agencies providing individual tutors as well. They had 735 students with IEPs decide to do summer school. 221 are virtual, 514 are in person. And then there's an additional 33 for early childhood. That's separate because of funding. They also have 228 students that are signed up for walk-in services. So there will be some classrooms available where staff can sign up to work with individual students. And then students with 504s were addressed through Gen Ed providers. So that's completely separate as far as how many students with 504s are involved. And then they also mentioned that GRASP is available for families that don't want to do 4 days a week of summer school. And that's an at-home program where materials are sent right to the house. We were updated on graduation plans, which has since changed, but we know that we're planning on Hausman Field. And we had a teacher evaluation update that it is still at the 40% student growth. It hasn't changed. And teachers who are highly effective, who have been highly effective for 3 years, have to be evaluated, which is not usually the case. So all teachers will have at least one observation, regardless of if they're getting a rating or not. And then I did make a note that those that have been highly effective for the 3 years will not be measured on the professional development, professional responsibility, and attendance, because that's not required with the 40% student growth. And then we had an update on Schoology, which is the learning management system that was piloted at Burton Westwood Middle and Museum Middle High. And they are moving forward with having 6th through 12th grade classrooms use Schoology. And that will be a process that will take, hopefully it will be fully implemented in the next 4 to 6 years, but it's going to be a gradual process, starting with what's called a sandbox setting, where they can just kind of play with it a little bit and get ideas from other teachers who have been using it. So that professional development is starting now, and hopefully 6 through 12 will be implementing some of that in the fall. Any
Great.
questions?
Any questions for Ms. Davis?
The full meeting.
Thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. Next, we have our legislative committee update with Dr. Baker.
And I may ask Mr. Helmholtz to help me out on this. We actually, and you look ready, huh? So we actually had on Friday a full day. We had our legislators' day, which involved Zoom meetings. We met with several legislators, including the House Chair of the Education Committee and the Senate Chair of the Education Committee. We met with budget folks. We also met with our own Senator Winnie Brinks. There's several. We spent a lot of time on 3rd grade reading, and that's where I remember most of the details. I need John to help me out with some of the other things that we were discussing. ESSER funds are coming, and Ms. Lewis can tell us what the ESSER acronym stands for.
Oh, no, don't do that. I sort of know.
We have at least learned that no one remembers exactly what the ESSER acronym
Well, it
stands
is federal
for.
money, though.
Huh?
Federal money?
Yes, that's the money.
Okay,
yeah.
here.
Federal money is what it stands for, coming our way. The 3rd grade reading is the primary issue that is still being debated. The chair of the House committee is very adamant that we follow the law and proceed. There's some discussion of compromise because what we stated, the Grand Rapids Public Schools, so a lot of the, I think, insistence on following, is to use Ms. Lewis's language, the insistence on following the law is that it was the law. There has been some rumors even before COVID that there were districts that were planning to not follow the law, and that's upset some of the lawmakers that were adamant in supporting this and the accountability that comes with it. Our position is, meaning Grand Rapids Public Schools' position is that we participate in the writing of legislation, participated in supporting measures that were put in place to support students along the way, and that we were fully prepared to implement the consequences of that law a year ago when, in fact, the 3rd grade reading law was postponed. There is, after our legislative day on Friday, the committee also had a legislative meeting where we all came together to discuss a compromise plan and whether or not it fit our current policy, which is a request to postpone the implementation of 3rd grade reading and holding back students until next year. The compromise plan involves basically not implementing the plan this year, but next year holding back 3rd graders and 4th graders. So this year's 3rd graders and next year's 3rd graders would be held back. And the committee did decide that that decision was in keeping with our position. And we decided we did not have another further action by the board to encourage our advisors to go forward. So our lobbyists to go forward. That's the conversation. The issue there, and is if anyone asks, and I think that maybe perhaps the Academic Achievement Committee can discuss this, because there is, what are the plans? And so as has been communicated to that committee, the district is prepared to implement the plans if needed. And so they know the names of the students, the families, they're ready to communicate with the families if needed. We have every intention of following that law and no intention of not following the law. And I think that it's important. Our position is basically, we can't really measure growth or reading levels this year because the assessments would be not valid considering the fact that they're given during, precarious assessment periods online, et cetera. So that is that issue. I don't know, John, do you think we should add anything else to the company? So these exceptions are essentially that parents can request that their child not be held back. That would be the case if we had the compromise going forward next year for the 3rd and 4th graders. It would also be the case if the law was actually implemented this year. Families will be informed. They will be informed by the state, but also by us. And they would have a chance to ask the superintendent to intervene. So, and that's really it. And I think it's really important. Our perspective was we have every intention of following the law. We just can't trust the assessments this year.
Mhm.
So that was we spent 4 hours on Friday getting to that point. So.
Okay, well, thank you for those of you who participated. And thank you, Dr. Baker. We'll move on to our superintendent's report. Dr. Roby.
Good evening, everyone. I am going to ask Mrs. Andretta and Mr. Helmholt to come forward to talk about what's going on with GRPSF.
Madam Superintendent, President Shockey, members of the board. It's great to be here to provide an update with the GRPS Foundation. With me here tonight is kind of my partner here that we tag team together. Sally's going to come up and share. We've just had a lot happening between their Mindshare event and the different staff appreciation things that they and some donors in the community stepped up on. And so just a huge shout out and thanks to Sally and her team in the foundation. They've really been hustling for our students and for our staff here all the time, but this last month has been extremely busy, and she'll be here to tell you a little bit more. Come on up, Sal.
Thank you, John, Dr. Roby, President Shockey, members of the board. It's so great to see everybody finally and not be on a Zoom call. Thank you so much for all of you that attended Mindshare. Dr. Roby was so wonderful, and I think we had a lot of fun taping in the theater that day, but we did well considering it was a Zoom event. We raised almost $90,000 and had a lot of great sponsorships and even new people that came from out of state. So that was exciting. So appreciate your support of that event and those who were able to come. We've had a lot of fun with teacher recognition. It's been a little crazy, but we've enjoyed every minute. We did 1,000 bags of chocolate, which we just all put together and put notes on for the teachers. And then the other day we got 20 Schnitz lunches and celebrated our nurses also. And the foundation's had a great time just being able to connect with everybody and help with the employee appreciation. We also announced, or Dr. Roby announced, the Jean Hamilton Cope Employee Recognition Award, which we'll be giving next year. Lori Grand, who is Jean Hamilton Cope's daughter, and she was Jean Hamilton Cope was a teacher, gave us some money to be able to present this, and John and I and Bridget have been working on it. But it was really interesting. It just a couple days after Dr. Roby announced it, she called me and said, "How is it going with everything?" I said, "Oh my gosh, you will never believe this. This is just like a whole initiative now. You just kicked off this great thing and everyone's behind it, and thank you so much." And she said, "Thank you, that just makes me feel great." And Dr. Roby is coming in September and is looking forward to meeting, so we'll coordinate that with John. The 150th celebration is coming along. We have the Grand Rapids Sports Hall of Fame doing their golf tournament on August 23rd, and then we have the Crosstown Throwdown football game on the 27th, and then it's looking like there might be another Gus Macker coming to town on the 28th. We're working with the Hall of Fame on that, so we're excited about that. And all those funds will go to the foundation and to the school district. We also have a girls' sports summer camp that's going to start June 14th, and this is a really neat initiative that we worked on with Great Sports to introduce our middle school girls to all the sports that are available, so they get to see, you know, and participate and learn a little bit more about the sports that they can get involved in. We also are doing a really fun thing at graduation this year, and this is the first year we're going to do that. We actually have pins. They're actually what they're called zipper pulls. So they go onto the robes, and it's a little pin, and it says class of 2021, and then it says alumni, and it says GRPS, and there's a little card with a poem on it, and it says welcome to alumnihood, and it talks about the new alumni association and how they can join. So we'll be passing that out at graduation this year. And then lastly, we're so excited and so grateful to Dr. Roby and Larry Johnson and to John. We are leaving the library. We kind of got kicked out, not for being bad, but they wanted the space. We will be moving to Sigsbee in July, and we're really grateful to the district, and we're so happy to be a part of that. But the great story behind all that is that was my dad's elementary school. So it just kind of comes full circle. So we're looking forward to that. But thank you so much. It's such an honor to work with all of you, and we really enjoy the work. So thanks.
Thank you so much. Thanks for everything you do for our children. All right.
And thank you again to Ms. Andretta for the work and the partnership with the Grand Rapids Foundation. You all do awesome work, and we are always just so humbled and appreciative of just those opportunities for our young people. The rest of my reports really are just kind of general information. We are coming close to the end of the school year. We have 2 more Mondays of school remaining, and we are counting down, and we're certainly making sure that we get communications out to all of our families related to the last few days. Graduation is coming up the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of June, and we have changed locations. We are at Hausman Field, and we're excited to have that opportunity as well. We will be communicating to our families about next school year. We expect fully to be 100% in person, 5 days a week next school year, but we are still working through some logistics, and we certainly want to offer opportunities for families who may need those extra concessions and considerations, and we'll make sure that we communicate that as well. We also this evening sent out our information, and I know that everybody has seen around the masking and unmasking, and we wanted to make sure that our families understood what we are expecting. We want to finish our school year strong. We've been very fortunate that we've not had any major outbreaks, and we want to continue so that students and staff in the school year in a healthy place, and we are hoping that we will continue that throughout the rest of the spring and summer, and looking forward to going again back to what it would be traditionally a normal school year. And that pretty much concludes my announcements today.
All right, thank you, Dr. Roby. Any questions? All right, we'll move forward to our action items. Mr. Oberst, may I invite you forward to talk us through the purchasing agenda and the resolution to approve the Kent Intermediate School District operating budget? Good evening.
Good evening, President Shatke, Superintendent Dr. Roby, and board members. A couple action items under my jurisdiction, so to speak. The first being, we have a limited purchasing agenda. We needed to make some purchases for summer school that we just got information late. So you can see there on the purchasing agenda, just 3 items related to some curriculum purchases for summer school. So I'd appreciate if the board would approve these so we can get these things ordered and get them in time for summer school to begin. Any questions on materials?
If there are no questions, may I have a motion for approval, please?
So moved.
Support.
All right, Ms. Lewis, please call the roll.
Yes. Ms. Grant?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis, yes. Reverend Matthias isn't here. Dr. Ross?
Yes.
I gave you Tony's, okay? Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Dr. Baker?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Dr. Flores?
Yes.
President Chotke?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. All right, next item, please.
Thank you. The other item is the annual Kent Intermediate School District budget. All local districts within the ISD need to individually approve just the general budget. The packet, I believe, included all the budgets of the ISD, but we're only required to approve the general fund budget. The general fund of the ISD primarily funds the GSRP, the preschool program, adult education, and a couple of other programs there. The information is in there. It's frankly, the property values continue to increase in Kent County. The ISD is funded almost entirely with property taxes on all property. So they are budgeting about 2% increase in revenue across the board. Similar increases in some of the expenses. They're going to add a little bit to their fund balance projected for 21-22. The one question mark, and I think many of you are aware of this, is we are in the budget season at the state level. All the House, the Senate, and the governor come up with the proposals. The GSRP budget itself, a couple of those proposals are to increase funding for that. One is not. At this point, the general fund budget here for the ISD does not include any increase in GSRP funding. That obviously comes to fruition. They will amend the budget during the course of the year. So nothing really out of the ordinary in this general fund budget this year. And I would recommend that this board, via the resolution, approve this budget, and it would need to get back to the ISD by June 1st. So their board can then approve it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Oberst. Any questions about the ISD budget? All right, can I please have a motion for approval of the resolution to approve the Kent Intermediate School District operating budget for the 2021-22 school year?
So moved.
Support. Ms. Lewis, please call the roll.
Ms. Grant?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis, yes. Reverend Matthias, not here. Mr. Russ?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Dr. Baker?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Flores?
Yes.
President Chotke?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Oberst. Our next action item is in regards to the Kent Intermediate Association of School Boards Board of Directors election. Due to the cancellation of the KIASB legislative dinner, the election for the Board of Directors is being held electronically. So there are currently 3 open seats for the Board of Directors with 2 candidates running to fill these seats. So this evening, we need to do 2 things. One, designate a board member to fill out the link and return the ballot to the ISD. And then we also need to vote on approving the 2 candidates. Since there are only 2 and we get 2 votes, that's pretty straightforward. Any questions about this particular vote? And I'm willing to serve as the designee if you're comfortable with me casting our electronic vote.
Thank you.
Okay, great. All right, so with that, can I please get a motion for approval of voting on the candidates? And I'll say their names here. The Kent Intermediate Association of School Board candidates that we are voting to approve are Ken Hornecker, currently on the Godwin Heights Board, and Eric John Shapaniak, currently on the Kenowa Hills Board.
So move.
Support.
All right, Ms. Lewis, please call the roll.
Ms. Grant?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis? Yes. Reverend Matthias? Here. Mr. Ross?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Dr. Baker?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Dr. Flores?
Yes.
President Chotke?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Our final action item this evening is the consent agenda grouping. Are there any questions? If none, may I have a motion for approval, please?
So moved.
Support. Ms. Lewis, please call the roll.
Ms. Grant?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis, yes. Mr. Ross?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Dr. Baker?
Yes.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Dr. Flores,
Yes.
President Shockey,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right, thank you very much. Moving on to our discussion items. First of all, just board president announcements. So in regards to graduation, because we've moved the location to Houseman Field, we now can accommodate all 9 board members attending all board meetings if that is your choice. So I have a paper sign-up form so that we can sign up for the ceremonies that you'd like to attend. Just initial which ones you hope to attend, and we'll move forward that way. So after the meeting concludes, if you'll just come grab this and let us know which ones you'd like to be at. So that's great news. Thank you, everybody, for participating in graduation. It's a wonderful time. I'm really excited to see our graduates and our students. The next item is our first presentation of the Kent Intermediate School District Biennial Election Resolution. And so what's required of us this evening is to simply talk through the process of this resolution. So what we have in front of us is a ballot. There are 2 terms that are open for election. The first is a 6-year term with 2 candidates running, Kyle Clement and Matthew Reddig, who's the incumbent. And then there's a partial term open too. There's 3 candidates for that. That's Laura Featherston, Eric John Shapaniak, and Beth Milanowski. And so tonight we're simply discussing that on Friday during our board retreat, we are going to vote and decide which 2 candidates we'd like to support. So 1 for the 6-year term and 1 for the partial term. All right, any questions about that process? Okay, so we'll revisit this during the board retreat where we will discuss our choice of candidates. And then also this evening, we need to designate a representative to cast our vote. Ms. Lewis has agreed to serve as our representative, but we will need an alternate as well. Is there anyone who could serve as an alternate should Ms. Lewis not be able to attend this meeting on June 7, the evening of June 7?
What time's the meeting? It's on a Monday?
You know, I'm not sure of the time. Julie, do you know?
Yeah, I can do it if we need to.
Okay, Mr. Ross can be our alternate.
We would have our own meeting that night, right?
Say that one more time.
We
June
would.
7th, we have our own meeting.
Yeah, there's a board meeting that evening.
Oh, yeah, that is typical. Yep, so we would excuse Ms. Lewis and
I'd
she would
excuse.
attend. You would, yep.
Mr. Ross will take over my job.
Yes, there we go. He'll be the alternate for the secretary that night. Perfect. Okay, wonderful. That is the process. And we will just move on to the last discussion item, which is our board retreat. We are delighted to get together this coming Friday, May 21st. We'll begin at 8:30 a.m. and conclude by 3 p.m. Our board retreat will be held at Grand Rapids Public Schools University on Fuller Avenue. And the majority of our time will be spent with our strategic planning consultation firm, Greenway Strategy Group. And that agenda is in board docs if you'd like to see the agenda. Additionally, all of the supplemental materials, the variety of studies we've had done over the last year are also included in there to refresh you on the work. Any questions about the board retreat? Fantastic. All right, so we will move on to public comment for non-agenda items this evening. Ms. Lewis, may I see those? Thank you. Okay, I will welcome forward our first person for public comment this evening, which is Wanda Hall. You may come forward to the board table, and Ms. Lewis will read you instructions when you arrive. Welcome.
This is what we are required for public comment statement. Individuals should have registered for public comment half an hour before this meeting. Registered individuals will be called on admitted by our meeting moderator during the public comment period. Public comment is for agenda and non-agenda items during the virtual format. Please check out our website under notice of regular and special board meetings, and you will see our meetings will be posted. Public comment is limited to 2 minutes per person. You will need to state your full name, before providing the comment, and we will then start the timer at the beginning of your comment and provide you with a 1-minute notice. I'll just wave something at you at 1 minute, okay? And you will need to complete your comment time upon being notified that the 2 minutes have passed. Board members do not respond to public comment. Concerns will be brought to the attention of the appropriate staff. We value your input and thank you for sharing.
Ms. Lewis, it sounds like we may have an old version of those instructions, 3 minutes
Oh,
with in-person.
okay.
Sounds like we had the virtual instructions from a past board meeting,
those
so
were the-
3 minutes this evening. So if you'll just state your name and then your 3 minutes will begin. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Wanda Hull, and I'd like to say thank you all the board members for your service to Grand Rapids Public Schools. Just a week or two ago, one of my family members was in his classroom, and he was made to go to the office. He was taken out of the classroom because someone that he's known for quite some time as a female has decided now that she or he is a male. So he called her by she because that's what he's known her as. And so he was taken out of the class and given a talking to by the assistant principal. And I just think it's very unfair for him because I feel as though he's being bullied and he's being brainwashed. There is no reason that he should have had to leave his class because he did not break any rules or laws, and there is freedom of speech. You know, I believe that everybody is a valuable human being, and I don't want to pick on anyone, but just as this young woman has the right to be a woman or a male or whatever she wants to be, there are still laws and rules and freedoms for other people that don't see things that way.
1 minute.
And so he wasn't taunting this individual or making fun of them at all. He was just addressing this person. And so I just don't think that it was fair to him to be reprimanded for what he did. And so I just wanted to bring that to your attention. And basically that's it. I just want to bring it to your attention and see if there's any plan to talk about this or discuss this and see what the right thing is to do and what is fair to everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for your comments this evening, Ms. Hall. All right, next we'll welcome Mary Bowens. Good evening, welcome.
Hi.
Hello.
Oh, good evening, President Shadkey, Superintendent Roby, and board members. I just have a couple little items I wanted to bring up. One of them is that GRE is looking forward to participating in a focus group for the district strategic plan. Of the members I contacted, only one was not able to make it because her daughter's graduating from high school that night, so she gets a pass. But staff is keenly interested in being part of the plan and I would say are perfectly suited to offer wise feedback and forward-thinking suggestions. And we look forward to our meeting with the Greenway Strategy Group this Thursday. And it's also teacher evaluation season. And with it comes all the anxiety of being judged and doing a job that nobody learned in college. Though the timeline is not complete, we are expecting all the grace and flexibility in the world that should be given to as a top priority of the evaluators. I appreciate the ability to provide feedback to the district around how teachers are being evaluated and helping members understand that they have the power to inform their observers of what they are actually seeing during an observation. The third thing I wanted to share is something that's coming from our state organization, MEA. MEA is pleased to be partnered with the Michigan Department of Education on a Welcome Back Proud Michigan Educators campaign to encourage teachers with expired certificates to return to the profession. Details about the MDE's part in this program, which includes providing districts with waivers to hire educators while they're renewing their certificates, is available on their website.
1 minute.
MEA's role in the campaign is specifically for those who want to renew their certificate without being actively employed by a district. Under MEA's teacher reentry program, a $100 per school year reentry or substitute membership is available, and it provides access to MEA's professional development in order to earn the 150 hours needed to renew a certificate. So I wanted to let everybody know, if you know someone who has an expired certificate, we've got ways that they can get recertified and re-enter the teaching profession, and hopefully, of course, come to Grand Rapids.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ms. Bowens.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to superintendent's comments.
Last week, Dr. Dawkins, who's former superintendent of GRPS, and Mrs. Dawkins awarded 3 of our scholars and future alumni the First Chance Dawkins Scholarship. And this was introduced about 2 years ago. The criteria for honorees included an essay about how you would give back to your community or something related to social justice and what that means to you. This year's scholars received $1,000 apiece that can be used for tuition, books, room and board, any sort of fee. So we're really excited. And they are Emmanuel Nikankurao from Ottawa Hills High School, Jayana Carter from Union High School, and Dahilia Mendez from UPrep. And so I just wanted to make sure I brought those young people's names forward, and also to thank the Dawkins family for their continued support. I found out that their connections, Mrs. Dawkins is a former student of Creston. And so, things come full circle. So I just wanted to make sure that I shared that as well.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to board member comments. Ms. Davis, can I start with you?
Sure, no comment for me tonight.
All right, thank you, Dr. Baker.
No comment.
All right, Mr. Ross.
No comment.
Very good. Dr. Flores.
No comment.